He's never fought us. Not us united.
My favorite moment in the entire... Maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here.
Welcome to Under Two Capes. I'm Jared, and I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
What's up?
So today we are talking about actually a really cool topic. We're talking about the best warrior women in comic books. In other words, the best female superheroes. Now, the rule is we're going to sort of avoid talking about our characters because...
Dagnabbit.
But what we will say is that Screecher launched. I received my copy of Screecher. I did a review on the channel. Really, really good. Congratulations on the launch, Nick.
Yes. So let's talk about some wonderful women.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. I have a CBR list that we're going to go through, and then we'll give our favorite. And by a nice pun there, I just wanted to make sure you got credit for that. But I have a CBR list, and we're going to go through it briefly, and then we'll give like our list of our favorite female superheroes. So we're going to do, all right. So we got Gamora, number 15. Yeah, I'd say she should be on this list because she's a badass.
She should be higher, but yeah.
She should be higher, but when you see the other people on this list, okay, I see what they were going for, but at least she's on the list. It's not like she's the least badass. She's on the list.
She's the least badass of like the most badass people, which is not a bad position to be in.
Lyra, she basically looks like Thundra and Hulk made a baby.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, I don't really know a lot about Lyra or really Thundra. Knockout, this is the girlfriend of Vandal Savage's daughter, and she's actually a female Fury. So I could see that. Any of the female Furies, I think, would go well on this list.
Yeah. Big Bart is going to be on this list.
Artemis, well, yeah, because remember, Artemis took over as Wonder Woman, I think, for a while in the 90s. It's when Diana had that, like, biker costume.
Huh.
It's really cool. I like her a lot.
Yeah, Diana's lost her powers like a couple times. I know in the 70s she had like a secret agent like salon phase.
Yeah, which I think was like who thought I get what Denny O'Neil was going for, but that was like a bad idea to take the character to take the symbol of female empowerment, depower her, and make her beholden to a man.
The costume was cool. The costume looked nice.
The costume was pretty cool. The all white thing, I like that.
Yeah, it had like kind of like that 70s spy chic thing.
Sif, a member of the Warriors 3, and I've always felt that she's closer to Marvel's Wonder Woman, if I'm not counting Warrior Princess, obviously, because that one's obvious. But
yeah, if we're going for parallels, yeah, Sif is definitely a very close like Wonder Woman equivalent.
Particularly in how she interacts with like mythology, even though it's Norse instead of Greek. And she's a very strict warrior, and I like it. The only thing that's missing is Wonder Woman's mission to be an ambassador of peace. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And power level wise, I'd argue Lady Sif is probably about on Wonder Woman's level in terms of like strength and power, because Sif is not only an Asgardian, which they're stronger by default. He's also literally a member of the Warrior 3. So I think you could hold her own against Wonder Woman.
I get what you're saying, but Wonder Woman's a demigod. It's one thing Wonder Woman versus like Thor, but versus Sif, I get it.
I mean, the Asgardians themselves are godlike beings.
Yes, but it's not the same thing as like what I still think Wonder Woman could easily destroy her, because Wonder Woman
not easily. I mean, if we're gonna have a compromise, it would not be an easy battle.
But ultimately, I think Wonder Woman would win. So Angela,
we can debate that, but it would not be a stomp. It would not be a curb stomp.
Okay, Angela of Spawn fame, and actually, what's kind of interesting is that Neil Gaiman apparently created Angela, then had to sue McFarlane for the rights of the character, and that's why she ended up in Marvel Comics and not Image Comics.
Yeah, basically, Gaiman got the rights, and then as like an FU, he sold them to Marvel. So that's why Angela is a Marvel character for some reason.
And what they made it is apparently she's the daughter of Odin from another from a 10th realm, I think, right?
So she's kind of like a Hela kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah, except good Hela. Valkyrie. This is another very clear Wonder Woman inspired character.
And okay, you can't tell me Valkyrie couldn't go toe to toe with Wonder Woman. Come on.
She can go toe to toe. I'm just saying she wouldn't win because Wonder Woman has more than strength. She has speed, invulnerability, tactical genius.
Valkyrie would give her a harder time.
Time, but still, I think Wonder Woman would win.
It would be a very close victory, even closer than Sif.
Yeah. Power Princess. Well, this is pretty obvious. I'm like, all right. But this is the Power Princess design that's clearly not a ripoff of Wonder Woman, unlike the modern one from Heroes Reborn.
It's like the worst parts of Catwoman and Wonder Woman decided to take a dump.
Well, actually, no, because she's actually a really cool character.
I'm just not loving the costume. I'm sorry.
No, the costume is not really that good. I'm just saying, at least it's not the one that's clearly a ripoff of Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
and I mean the one that they're using. And she's from Earth 712, where instead of the Avengers, it's basically the Justice League. And we have Thundra, who's from another version, who's from she comes from an alternate reality where the battle of the sexes erupted into all-out war in the 23rd century. Well, that sounds complicated. She's from, so she's from Femizonia. Well, that's on the nose, Marvel. She actually served on the Squadron Supreme, by the way, because in one of the runs of the Squadron, they basically created a multiversal team. All their worlds were destroyed by the Illuminati, so they start going after Iron Man, Namor, and they actually cut off Namor's head on live TV.
Oh,
I like that part.
Yeah,
female Thor.
Okay, no. Let's just we're walking. Let's not talk about this.
All I'm gonna say is that Wonder Woman would destroy her.
Don't make me tap the sign.
Mm-hmm. Glory. I have no idea who the hell Glory. Oh, she's in Youngblood. Okay.
You know that rant I have about Thor from back in the day?
Yeah, you mean the one that you get on my show all the time?
All right. I'm gonna bust this. I'm gonna bust this one out. The hammer says, "He who wields his hammer, if they be worthy, shall have the power of Thor." They don't become Thor; they get the power of Thor.
Yeah, Jason Aaron.
When Cap wielded the hammer, he didn't become Thor; he had the power of Thor.
Mm-hmm. By Jason Aaron's logic, Cap should have been Thor. I don't know who Glory is, so I'm just gonna skip this one. Zealot, I know from Wildcats, and she was actually interacted with Deathstroke in the new 52, so she's actually a pretty awesome badass.
Okay.
Big Barda's on the list. She's number 3 too, so I'm like, yep.
Okay,
you gotta love Barda.
The fact that there is no Witchblade on this comic in this list invalidates it.
Yeah, it's a very number 2 is Wonder Woman.
Oh.
You may be wondering what's number 1, and I get their reasoning for number 1, but I disagree with it. I think Wonder Woman should be number 1, but that's besides the point.
Okay, I'm going to reserve judgment, but I am holding my pitchfork ready to torch.
Red Sonja.
Okay, I actually agree with this, because while maybe not powerful, she is definitely iconic, and without Red Sonja,
fiercest warrior woman in all the comics has to be Red Sonja because she does it all without any superhuman abilities, and that's true. I get what they're saying there, and that's where I think they only have a thing to stand on. But you see, with Wonder Woman, in order to be here's my problem with Red Sonja is that she's too pro violence, and a good warrior knows when not to use violence. That's why I think Wonder Woman should be number 1 instead of Sonja.
I don't mind that Red Sonja is number 1, but I see your reasoning.
Yeah, I don't mind. And they have a very good reason that she does everything the other characters do, but without powers. I just disagree with her being but I love this. At the end of the Wonder Woman entry, they say, unlike her teammates, Diana does not shy away from killing. Oh, all of her teammates don't shy away from killing. Green Lantern kills aliens.
But there are some massive oversights for this list.
Yeah.
Starfire, for instance, she's literally a warrior princess. Witchblade You know, Sarah Pazzini, Warrior Woman.
Hawk Girl.
Yo, yes.
Diana. I'm like, what?
You
Mara.
Yes. You could. Okay, so as far as Black Canary and Black Widow, you could argue they're more clandestine spy type people instead of like straight up warriors. Which it's kind of a technicality, but okay, sure. Like they're not straight up like frontline warrior women. I'm
surprised that Power Princess made the list because I'm like, that's a deep cut. Because as much as I love the Squadron, they're not as they're not mainstream characters yet. No,
Starfire should have been on this list.
Starfire should have definitely been on the list. Raven even, because here's the thing. Yeah, Starfire, I'm like, and you took her out. She's like one of the most iconic. First off, she's one of the most iconic characters in all of comics. Well, I'm going to put that in there.
Question. Are we using the definition of warrior women or just good female characters in general? Because
we'll do both. How's that?
Because I don't see Raven. I mean, Raven is a great female character, but she's not really a warrior woman. She's more of like a spellcaster. Like Raven is more in like Zatanna.
Yeah.
You know.
So for our list, I'm going to go, I figured we'll just go back and forth instead of us listing all like maybe 5.
No,
we'll just go back and forth.
What are we listing? Warrior women or just female comic book characters in general?
Let's do female comic book characters because I think warrior women is way too specific.
Yeah, then that just invites arguments over definition. So
my number 1 is Wonder Woman because I think here's the thing. The reason why I think she works, particularly as a member of the Trinity, as I've always said, the reason why the Trinity are seen as like the gods of DC is because they each represent a third of what it takes to be a superhero, and Wonder Woman's third is the pursue peace part of it too. Because a real superhero is not going to go out looking for a fight. What's going to happen is that they'll use violence as a last resort, and that's really what Wonder Woman does. Plus the fact she is a badass, despite the fact that she doesn't have that as many like iconic stories as like Batman or Superman. When you put her in a fight, she is. Batman says it itself. That's how he beat her in Tower of Babel. He said if she's in a fight, she will fight until her heart gives out.
That and she pairs well with Batman.
Okay.
I love how you just like put your hand over your mouth, like watch it.
Who you got for your favorite female superhero character? Is it Witchblade?
Actually, I'm gonna say Starfire.
It's a good one. I like Starfire.
I really love Starfire. She's got like this kind of mixture of like innocence and fierceness. Let's just say, I want to marry her.
So you want to be basically Nightwing, is what you're saying.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. Who doesn't want to be Nightwing?
I mean, heck, just look at the Phoenix Press logo. It's obvious, like you can tell it's based off the Nightwing logo. Like, come on.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the cool parts about Starfire that I don't think the Titan show did well. I get what they were going for. It's a good version of Corey, but I like the version where she doesn't know where she's going. She has that young innocence, kind of like in like Teen Titans or the Camu when she first showed up. I like that version more.
My argument is she got better. She definitely slipped into like the team mom role, which that is definitely a Starfire. Like, she became more Starfire as the series progressed, and she kind of settled into like the team mom kind of thing, and like I definitely feel like she got better as the series progressed. Like first season was a mess. I mean, honestly, that costume they put her in was horrendous.
Horrible. At least they gave her a costume, and it's a pretty good. All the costumes in Titans, say what you want to say about the plots, the costumes look good.
I will say the Starfire costume, while it's like somewhat accurate, to me it looks like really ugly. The Blackfire costume looks good, but yeah, all the other costumes are honestly amazing.
So my number 2. All right. I've thought a long time about this, but I have to go with Black Canary because I think here's the thing about Black Canary. She not only does she have her sonic scream, but she's also a really good martial artist, arguably one of the top, hand-to-hand combat specialist in all of DC.
You
And
know
when
what I've
look at
always
everything-
wondered?
What?
You know what I've always wondered about like Ollie and Black Canary's relationship? Does Ollie wear earplugs when they do the thing?
They did a thing about that, by the way, in the storyline Justice by Alex Ross. He puts in earplugs, but okay. So what happened is that the Legion of Doom starts picking off the Justice League one by one, and Clayface disguises himself as Black Canary to get close to Ollie, and she's in like lingerie. But before anything happens, he turns into Clayface and starts attacking. And then Black Canary just lets full blast her sonic scream, and Ollie has the earplugs in, and she goes, "How did you know that wasn't me?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, I see what you're doing there. But yeah, and the thing is that when you look at her comic history, what she had to overcome, it's like I believe she was like sexually assaulted at one point, and it's like she's like Barbara Gordon, and by she's on my list, where she's been broken down so many times, but has always managed to build herself back up and use that as a strength. And I
don't know
that's
what it is.
inspiring.
I don't know what it is about like female comic book characters, but the writers love to like torture them in misery porn and whatnot. Like Dawnstar from Legion of Superheroes is kind of in that same vein where it's like the writers put her through so many ordeals and trials.
All right, so who you got as your number 2?
Witchblade.
Okay, yeah. As someone that has just gone into Witchblade, I can see that because first off, the armor design looks amazing, and she's very 90s, and her power set is cool, and plus the character herself is really cool. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So my third is Batgirl Barbara Gordon, because or the way I prefer it, Oracle, because again, so she was shot and paralyzed. She couldn't be Batgirl anymore, but she arguably became way more powerful by deciding, okay, I can use technology to still be a superhero. Then she ends up being the information broker for the Suicide Squad, the Justice League, and Batman. I'm like, dude, that is amazing in and of itself. And I get what DC, because currently I'm going through the Burnside storyline for Batgirl, and I understand. Okay, I like the story. I just wish you were still Oracle, because I get the appeal, because you basically took away a superhero for a specific community and then just
a
put her back to
paraplegic
normal.
icon.
Yeah, and you just put her back when you already have 2 other characters who arguably have been set up to become Batgirl. So I'm just like,
you had Cassie Kane, and then Stephanie Brown was actually Batgirl for a while. And fun fact, because I'm sorry, but that 2 years in between Battle for the Cowl and Flashpoint is like the most fascinating time of DC Comics for me. Dick Grayson is Batman, Stephanie Brown is Batgirl. Stephanie Brown's trades were actually selling pretty well. Like people were embracing her as Batgirl.
Yeah, and it's like again, DC keeps doing this where they take what sells and changes it. Like Superman and Wonder Woman sold over 100,000 copies. By the way, in the new 52, current Superman wishes it could get to that point.
By the way, people in the late 90s, early 2000s, when you had Cassie Kane as Batgirl, people loved that iteration of Batgirl. That was a great iteration, especially because that version was like around the same age as Tim Drake Robin. So you had like some really great stories because like they're on the same level. It's like, oh no, sorry. I gotta bring up my favorite era of DC Comics.
And we'll talk about that on a later episode. But my number 3 is Big Barda, because number I think 4 is what I'm on, because when you look at what she had to overcome.
Actually, you didn't let me have one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my pick is gonna be I want to do a Marvel character, and who better than Storm?
Mm-hmm.
So Storm is like the answer to like, oh, men hate strong female lead characters in comics, and it's like, okay, not only have people loved Storm for 50 years, like, and Storm has like she actually got to lead X-Men and nobody complained.
Yeah.
Because she had every right to lead the X-Men. And this is like, what, in the 70s, 80s, or whatever?
My one problem is when in Marvel versus DC, they had her beat Wonder Woman. I'm like, nope, that would not happen.
Didn't she like beat Wonder Woman with a lightning bolt?
Yeah, I'm like, that is so lame. She only won because that was during like the 90s when there was like a big X-Men boom because you had X-Men #1 with Jim Lee. I get why the people voted. I just think that's a really BS
if I were to do it, I would basically have Storm put like a giant icicle through her chest. Like that at least would make sense.
You couldn't kill her though. Yeah, the rules for that is that you had to knock them out, not kill them.
Well, Storm can literally create hurricanes. So like literally she could just toss her about until she gets knocked out. Like it's
there are other ways to do it. I'm gonna hit you with lightning a couple of times. That is such
the one thing that Diana usually has a resistance to is she's the daughter of Zeus.
Well, at that point she wasn't, but I get what you're saying. It's like if there's one, she's not weak to lightning. The last time I checked, either way.
I want to see Wonder Woman go up against Thor. That would be a really good fight.
Oh, that would be a close fight. I still say Wonder Woman would because she's faster than Thor. Because you don't understand, Wonder Woman is close to like Superman and the Flash in terms of speed.
Yeah, but like if Thor gets in enough wax in with that hammer, he could
no, I'm saying he wouldn't be able to land more than like 1 or 2 hits because Wonder Woman would use her speed. She's too fast because ultimately Thor is not super fast. It doesn't work like that.
I mean, he's not like slow or anything. Like
no, he's not slow. It's just he's not faster than Wonder Woman. So to the point where she would be able to, like, for the most part, stay out of his reach, and then she would be able to land some solid hits on him.
Okay, okay. This is kind of a tangent, but
yeah, go ahead.
I got to do this.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, so Superman does not have resistance against magic, and Thor's powers are magic based. Ruin King Thor versus Superman.
Which Superman? Because are we talking about Superman and the Sun Superman?
Regular Superman, because I know Superman Prime would win this, but let's just say regular Superman.
Against
All-Star Superman. Let's do All-Star Superman.
Okay, so explain to me real quick the power level of Ruin King Thor.
I don't know it exactly, but I know like Ruin King Thor is like he has like the full power of the Odin Force.
Okay.
It's like an Uber. It's like his most powerful form.
It's not going to be a wipeout. 100% is not going to be a wipeout. I still give it to Superman because of that super speed factor and the fact that he's still fighting in the sun. Because here's the thing: Superman has fought magic-based people before and has won. So I think at that point, the way his brain works, that he would recognize I'm fighting someone that runs magic, and then I would be able to come up with a tactic in order to defeat him.
Okay, so we need to do an Under 2 Capers episode where like who can beat Superman. We need to do that. That's a really good.
I think of the ones that probably could maybe.
No. I don't want this to be any more of a tangent. You know, we've kind of gone further.
But there is. I'm just gonna say this. There is one Marvel character that I think could do it. I'd still say it wouldn't. I'm saying that there's one Marvel character that has the chance of doing it, but we'll save that for next week's episode. All right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Okay. So is it my turn?
Yeah.
Big Barda, because really she escaped from Apocalypse. But first off, she was trained in the Female Furies, which are like one of the most badass warrior groups in the multiverse, and they're like Darkseid's right hand, basically. So first off, she has that. Then she was able to break away and find redemption as a superhero, and I'm just like, oh, that is. Plus, her costume looks freaking dope.
Also, can we agree Gina Carano is born to play that role?
Yes, absolutely. Would love that. But yeah, and plus she became a Justice League member, and it was like because the Justice League. Here's the thing about the Justice League versus the Avengers. The Avengers will let literally everyone on the team. The Justice League, no, that actually is an honor to be on the Justice League because guess what? They actually vet you.
Yeah, like, plus the Justice League. the Justice League basically has the core league, and then there's everyone else. So even if you're a member of the league, you're not really part of the core A.
You're not the inner circle, in other words.
Yeah, whereas the Avengers, sure, there's like the core Avengers team, but if you're an Avenger, you're an Avenger. They swap out people like crazy.
It's like everyone on Earth is an Avenger at some point. It's like if you get powers, as soon as you have powers, an Amazon delivery robot shows up with your Avengers ID card.
Like I love like how in like Shang-Chi, just by the virtue of him having these artifacts, oh, you're an Avenger now. Welcome to the Avengers. It's like just because he joined the superhero community, like, oh, you're an Avenger now. You know,
that's
whereas
why I think
Peter literally
Avenger
had to earn his place onto the team.
That's why I love the Justice League more, because with the Justice League, it means something to be on the team. It's that they don't let just anyone on the team. All right, so who you got next, Nick?
Okay, I gotta say, Huntress.
Yes, Bertinelli is amazing. I love that girl.
Yes, for sure. He's one of those characters where like he's like basically the Red Hood kind of equivalent, where it's like he's on the Bat family, but she kind of exists on the periphery. You know, where like some people don't acknowledge her, some people do, but like her back's that too. You know, in like 7 Generations, he's a teacher. I just think she's a really, really interesting character, and pairing her up with the Question is just such a good pairing. Like, they work so well together.
Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, but I think she had some great arcs in JLU, and yeah, in terms of, I agree with you, because when you think about it, she was the Red Hood before the Red Hood showed up. So, you're right. She definitely fulfilled that role. And I like how she teams up with Barbara and Dinah in the Birds of Prey. And again, awesome run by Chuck Dixon. Just telling you that right now.
Well, Gail Simone.
And Gail Simone.
Like, okay, so I know Gail Simone has gone off a rocker, but I want to acknowledge she wrote some she wrote some very good stories back in the day, and honestly, no one wrote Dick and Barbara better than her. Like, she wrote that story and that romance better than anyone else. So I'm going to give her her due.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. But and she had some pretty great Wonder Woman storylines. But okay, so my next favorite, really when I have to think about it, I'm going to go a little bit of Marvel on this one. I'm going to go with not Power Princess.
Oh, please, no.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to have to go with really Black Widow, honestly, because when you think about it, hers is like the quintessential like redemption story, because what people don't know is that she and Hawkeye started off as supervillains, and then they ended up joining the Avengers. And when you see her storylines are basically people from her past come and mess with her, and I love that. It's so cool. Plus the fact you have the whole retcon that she was trained by the Winter Soldier. So I'm like, oh, that's a cool way of linking her to Captain America.
Also, I don't know if this is continuity anymore, but I know at some point she had a version of the Super Soldier serum, so she was the Super Soldier.
I think that because I know she regularly takes the Infinity Formula, because for those that don't know, she has existed since the Cold War, and to keep from aging, she takes this formula that basically gives her immortality as long as she keeps drinking it. It's the same thing that White Nick Fury kept drinking.
And the side effect that one is it made him black.
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. So Black Widow had this really stupid like death and rebirth thing where what they did. So for those that don't know, when they did Hydra Cap killed Black Widow. How'd they bring her back? Well, she had.
Sorry.
Well, her memories were backed up to a clone. And I'm like, well, that's stupid.
They pulled the Charles Xavier.
Yes, they literally pulled the Charles Xavier one.
Oh, look, they killed Charles. Oh no, don't wait. Oh, don't worry. I have a twin that's been in a vegetative state since birth that has a backup for this very reason.
Well, you, Nick, what else you got?
Let's see here. Let's see here. Probably Elektra.
Oh yeah, I love her, particularly if you read like Frank Miller's Daredevil run. Fantastic.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
surprised she wasn't on the Warrior Women list.
Yeah, definitely. She should have been on that list for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely love Elektra and the way that she challenges Matt Murdock too. So my next one is Emma Frost of the X-Men because she's the type of person that will just mess with. Well, she's a telepath, so she could like screw with your mind, and she has done that.
She is a cold-hearted bee.
Yeah, and I like how. Yeah, thank you. I like how they like balanced her, and what I mean by that is that when because she has two powers, she can turn to a diamond, but she's also a super powerful telepath. But to balance her, they make it so she can't use her telepathic powers when she's in diamond form. So I'm like, okay, at least you're making it like she's not too much of a god, because when she's in diamond form, she's practically invincible.
Mm-hmm.
But I love how she rebuffs Namor constantly, because I like seeing Namor being made an ass of himself, because that's just Namor, and I can't stand that character. It's
honestly Namor is like one of the biggest horn dogs in comics,
and I really hate him for that reason. But it's kind of funny. There was this one part where Emma's arm, so the one time her diamond form has actually taken harm, Emma's arm was blasted off by a celestial. That's how powerful you have to be in order to blast off her arm. So she has to use her magical power. So she goes, Namor, grasp my arm. And he goes, finally. She goes, not like that, you idiot. I mean like a tourniquet. And I'm like, yes. Plus, she's the queen of sarcasm. And when you read her, it's like, yeah, this is fantastic. I love this character.
So I want to give some respect to the first family and say Sue Storm.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because also, if you want to talk about an uber powerful person, yes, Sue Storm is like ridiculously powerful. Her force fields are like really, 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 in a way, OP.
Yeah, so her two powers are invisibility and force fields, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, when did they give her force field ability? Because I think at first it was just like invisible was her power.
I don't remember.
But yeah, I think the force fields were really important, because invisible can only do so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which and yeah, I really like Sue Storm, particularly in like, because she's like because so she started off being like the personification of like the stereotypical 50s housewife, but she has like gone above that to become like one of the pinnacle female characters at Marvel. Plus, I love her dynamic with Johnny. There was this one time in like the Alex Ross Fantastic Four book where like the tower's under attack. Okay, so Johnny and Thing are dealing with this invasion. Sue is invisible and talking, and then Johnny's like, Sue, why can't I see your clothes? Oh, gross. It was so funny. Just the way Johnny came to that realization. He's like, oh no. And then she comes out in a robe, and then Johnny's like, thank you for putting on clothes. That would be emotionally scarring. But yeah, my point is, plus she gave birth to the most powerful Marvel character of all time, bar none, Franklin Richards.
I mean, one of the most powerful comic characters of all time.
Yeah, exactly. Comic characters of all time. And that's barring no one. That's a character I think could beat Superman. Let's face it. Reality warping powers versus Superman, yeah.
To be fair, Marvel is under a really bad power creep right now. I actually saw like this headline where apparently they're making a character that's more powerful than the one above all.
And the one above all, by the way, is basically God. So
that's literally in his name, and they're making someone more powerful than him.
Isn't this supposed to be the comic book company that has more grounded characters? DC is supposed to have the gods.
I guess you can say the house is out of ideas.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you know the house of ideas.
That's a zinger.
Yes, exactly. That is the house of no ideas. That's it. That I like yours more, Nick. Just telling you that right there, because and here's the thing. Okay, so my next one is Carol Danvers, air quote, when she was Ms. Marvel. Because when she was Ms. Marvel, she was more humble. She wasn't like, I'm better than everyone else. She was like, okay, I'm an Avenger. I'm going to do my best to be the best hero I can be. As opposed to Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, where she's like, I am the greatest superhero of all time. And you have even alien races refer to her as humanity's greatest hero. And I'm like, no, she's done nothing to earn that title. If anything, humanity's greatest hero is Captain America. I'm just going to tell you that right. If you want to pick someone.
I mean, his name is literally Captain America.
Yeah, thank you. Patriotism, baby. But it's like she was way more hot because I have the trade that's like Captain. This is the one time I bought the Captain Marvel comic, but it's the Captain Marvel, the Ms. Marvel years before she became Captain, and it's way better. I love the character way more, and I realized that because I when I first started reading Marvel, my first Marvel comic was Siege, and she was Ms. Marvel, and I'm like, I like this character.
Didn't she have like actually a really good run in like the early to mid 2000s? I think
yeah,
it was like the Christopher Yost run.
Yeah, currently I'm reading the Brian Reed run, which is actually really good. But yeah, she has had really great runs, which that's the thing. Marvel has these fantastic female characters. It's just they keep writing them in a way to put down the male characters, which that's not the way the X-Men work. Because if you want to talk about like Storm, let's talk about Storm. So the X-Men comics held up Storm as like the leader of the X-Men, but they didn't make Wolverine or Cyclops any less badass.
Not only that, but no one could argue that Storm didn't earn.
Yes, 100%. When you look at what Storm has gone through and her comic book history, yeah, she earned that role as X-Men leader.
Because Storm is fierce, but there's a lot of motherly qualities to her that make her the perfect leader.
In a way, she is Marvel's Wonder Woman to a certain degree.
Yeah, and if there's a reason why they say T'Challa and Storm is like the biggest power couple in all of comics. Like there's a reason why that's like it's like the most iconic pairing because it just makes so much sense. And they actually work well together, personality-wise. Like it's like, yeah, she is the queen to his king. It makes perfect sense.
It's like Superman and Wonder Woman. That's the point. But
it's really sad. Like I would have loved to see like a Black Panther 2 and 3 or whatever, where they introduce Storm and they actually get married. I would have loved to see that.
They could still if they recast T'Challa.
I thought you've seen Black Panther.
No, trust me. There are ways that they could bring him back. Plus, this is Marvel we're talking about. You can't tell me
variants. There's variants of everything.
Yeah, you can't tell me they couldn't find some convoluted comic booky way to bring T'Challa back. Plus,
I mean,
spoiler alert. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. T'Challa's son is named T'Challa.
And apparently, I read the synopsis of the movie. Apparently, the mother got to see the child before he died. Like, oh my god. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's where they could do it. Time jump, and then this T'Challa meets Storm. There you go.
I mean, we all know there's a universe out there where Tony Stark does not look like Robert Downey Jr. He looks like Tom Cruise. We all know that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do a couple more. Whose turn was it? I think it was yours.
Yeah, for me, my next pick is Miss Martian.
Hello, Megan.
I love the character. I love the design, the skirt. It just does it for me.
Because my only exposure to her was Young Justice, and when you watch that show, they put her through the ringer, and again, she just keeps getting right back up. It's great the way they do. Plus, she was also in the Supergirl show. I'm really hoping that in the new DCU we get Ms. Martian showing up. Which, by the way, we're going to go on some rants about the DCU soon.
I'm gonna do a hot take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ms. Martian could possibly defeat Emma Frost in a psychic battle.
Really? In what way?
Because well, first off, she's shown to be a very powerful telepath. you know that like like mental guy. He basically creamed him. Also, Martian Manhunter, who himself is a very powerful telepath. I'm going by show logic here. Literally stated on the show that he has like a lot of like powerful potential as a psychic, and he's shown to be a very powerful psychic. In terms of like sheer power, I think she might be able to go toe to toe with Emma Frost. The thing that Emma Frost has is experience.
Yeah. The one telepath I don't think she could go up against no matter what, and no matter what Multiverse of Madness says, is Charles Xavier. That's it. Because Charles Xavier, he's on another level.
Even Emma Frost admits that, like, yeah, he's more powerful. Like, even Emma Frost, as conceded, will be like, yeah, he's more powerful.
You're not. He's the most powerful telepath in all of Marvel. No one's gonna go up against Charles Xavier in a telepathic battle. Wanda in Multiverse of Madness. That was so dumb.
It would be one thing if she literally crushed his head or did some sort of like reality bending thing.
But she beat him in a mental battle.
Yeah, no.
Her powers are purely physical, not mental. That's not what she... That's why I call BS on that.
Well, okay. Wanda's powers is magic, probability, manipulation, and like hexes. You know? Like that's her realm. She's not a telepath in any sort.
That's why I call BS on... That's what I was trying to say. That's why I call BS on that scene, because I'm like, how is she beating the most powerful telepath of all time?
Yeah, there's no way.
This is what happens when you explicitly say, we don't hire comic book fans to write this. Really, it shows.
Yeah.
Phase 4 alone is why you hire comic book people to write this, because you get people that don't know what they're doing. But anyway,
you do. And also, okay, I gotta say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You do realize that Reed Richards is literally the smartest man in his universe. He's the Rick Sanchez.
And then they introduce Moon Girl, who's like for no reason is the smartest one. I'm like, what?
No, literally, like Reed Richards is the Rick Sanchez of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, which and by the way,
it's actually crazy how parallel the characters are. But like,
it is.
I'm sorry, and Reed Richards, if he's literally the smartest man in his universe, why would he like tell Black Bolt to like? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Why would he give away? What he should have done? I've seen memes about this, and then we'll get back to the topic.
We'll give you everything. No, Black Bolt, burn this bee.
No. What he actually said is that, Black Bolt knows where your kids are. Go ahead, Black Bolt, tell her. You have to lean in really close because he's a low talker. That would have been great. I just want to see her get blasted once, even if it didn't do anything. But anyway,
you know what the absolute worst
one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I want to say this. You know what the worst part about that whole thing?
What?
I could totally see Reed Richards coming up with that plan on the fly. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like he's smart enough to come up with that on the fly. That's the worst part. That whole sequence is completely in character.
I'm not saying that Black Bolt would have destroyed Wanda. I just wanted to see that happen once. But anyway, well one thing I will say.
So say your thing, and then I'll say mine, and then we'll
one more thing I will say. Going back to hiring comic book people to write this, the one thing you can say about James Gunn, you may disagree with what he's doing with a lot of the DC movies. The dude is a comic book fan. The way they made this work is that they have an entirely different person handle the business thing, and they hired basically a comic book nerd to handle the creative stuff. At least you could say that was a good idea. You may disagree with what he's doing, but you can't deny that James Gunn knows the comics pretty well.
Oh yeah,
that's the only thing. That's the only time I'll ever defend James Gunn in that sense. But anyway, going back to what we were saying. All right, my next one, speaking of Phase 4, is She-Hulk, except comic She-Hulk and not show She-Hulk, because
it's really important that we make that distinction because
very important.
She-Hulk is awesome.
because I'm reading. By the way, I'm reading the newer run of She-Hulk where she's back to basics. She's no longer the roided out female Hulk when they just called her Hulk. She's back to being the regular She-Hulk, and it's so good because it's. I like the legal comedy part of it. It's like she walks into her office one day and there's like Sam Wilson, Captain America. There's like so many. There's like 8. There's like 12 different superheroes. And it's kind of funny is that she says, "My boss won't bring on any metahuman clients." And then Nova's like, "So your boss is a bigot?" And I'm like, "Yes, I love this." But and she starts a superhero, a superhuman fight club with like Titana because it's like Titana admits I only commit crimes, so you'll show up so I can fight you because the only time I feel like myself. So She-Hulk literally says, "Let's just make an appointment once a week to just fight." And I'm like, that works.
That is like.
And then wait, it gets better. One week you have like Volcana show up, and that's a friend of Titana, and she's like cheering on Titana. And all of a sudden, Ben Grimm shows up and thinks it's an actual fight. He goes, "Don't worry, Jen, I'm coming." And then the thing says, after a little bit of explaining, and thing goes, "I wish you had explained this to me earlier that if there was a fight club and you didn't invite me." And I'm like, I love that so much. That was so cool. Plus, here's the thing.
Okay. Wait. So imagine this. Let's say that they like Marvel and DC, they're gonna do a crossover, but they don't tell anyone. Okay. Oh. And as a lead up, if they're doing this fight club, all of a sudden Wonder Woman shows up.
Yeah, no, and watch everyone go, "What?"
Like literally the last panel is, so I heard they're like, like
no. She goes just like Diana that says, mascara.
No. Diana says, so someone broke the first rule of Fight Club.
Oh yes, you don't let anyone know there's a Fight Club. What they do? Wait. What they do is that it's a Fight Club.
No. Let me say. So it opens the door and says, "Oh, I heard you're putting on putting this on." And She-Hulk looks over. It's like she looks at the camera and says, "Oh, looks like someone broke the first rule of Fight Club." And then it's literally Wonder Woman.
What I would do is have it so the fight's happening, and then it's pretty obvious it's Fight Club. Then all of a sudden you see the speech bubble is like coming from outside of the from off panel, so you don't. So you don't see who's saying it at first, and then the next page is like a one panel is like a full on page of just Wonder Woman going. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't let anyone know that there's Fight Club,
and that is the last. That's like the last one page splash of the issue because you want to end it on a like it's. Can you
watch every comic book fan is reading this and they go, "Wait, what?"
See that's what I would
to be continued in JLA Avengers 2.
Like, can you honestly? I feel like the announcement of things is really ruining stuff. But like, just imagine you don't announce it, and all of a sudden you read this comic and like Wonder Woman shows up. It's like
that would sell. That comic would sell as soon as it gets spoiled and leaked. That Wonder Woman shows up in a She-Hulk comic.
And what I would do is like over the next like few weeks, like have other DC characters just randomly show up in
like Batman shows up in Daredevil or Punisher. No, Red Hood shows up in Punisher. That would be amazing. But yeah, that's the way they should do it, honestly, because can you imagine if they didn't announce that like the Justice League were dying and they just did that in that issue, even though they ended up not actually dying? That would have hit more than just saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to kill the Justice League for Justice League 75. Thanks for telling me, guys."
Imagine like it's Avengers and all of a sudden like this comet comes and it lands on the front lawn and they go there and it's Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, Dark side is coming."
Oh yeah. By the way, what's kind of funny is that when you read Infinity Gauntlet, the one who goes to Thanos is coming. That's Silver Surfer, not Hulk.
Yeah. Also, they also kind of did that with like Onslaught in the '90s, the Onslaught storyline, where they had Juggernaut land in the X-Men yard. Because That's where I got like the idea where like they did the whole onslaught is coming, and then they literally just said nothing for a year.
Yeah. And by the way, you notice, I'm getting getting back to the topic. You notice there's one female character that I didn't put in here.
Who is it?
That I've intentionally left out of my list. Female comic book of the best female comic book characters.
Well, we're waiting.
I intentionally left out Lois Lane.
Oh,
That's a dig at my recent video.
When we're going to talk about more pedestrian characters, I got to give a shout out to Mary Jane Watson.
Yes, she became a superhero too. Again, in some like alternate realities.
Kill me now, please. But yeah, I really like Gwen. I think Gwen Stacy as Ghost Spider. That works so well. Oh my god!
Speaking of great female characters, there you go, right there. But yeah, because particularly in like Spider-Verse, love her in that. But so my last one. Actually, no. Let's give one more each. You can go.
I'm trying to think here. Well, I said Mary Jane Watson. I mentioned Gwen Stacy. Lady Deathstrike.
Ooh, yes. The long nails. I love that.
Yeah. Now she was featured in X2, and that wasn't really her comic origin. Like she's not like regenerative. She was a cyborg, and she was actually part of the Reavers.
And when you look, okay, so for those of you that don't know, remember in the movie Wolverine, the girl that Wolverine falls in love with, that's Deathstrike.
Yeah. Oh, Mariko.
That's the character who becomes Deathstrike in the comics.
So basically, I found that out, and I'm
like, oh wow. Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, Deathstrike, her father created the process that banded adamantium to bones, and basically, Deathstrike's mission is to kill Logan and collect his bones. It's for honoring the father or some stuff. She wasn't originally a cyborg, but she became one eventually. In X2, they basically turned her into like a parallel of Logan. Like, I thought you were one of a kind, Logan. I was wrong. It's really sad because Kelly Hu is actually a really good actress, and she literally only got one line in the movie. I feel like they could have done more with the character, and I think Kelly Hu was like more than up to the challenge. But like for what we got of Deathstrike in that movie, I thought it was pretty cool. Also, the fight scene between Deathstrike and Wolverine is amazing.
Yeah. And by the way, they went into her origin in the X-Men animated series. They did a whole because a lot of what they adapted in that show was straight from the comics. But they basically did that whole story arc in the anime show. That's how I know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But so my last one, and by the way, there are other great female characters that I could mention. In other words, anyone I leave out except for Lois Lane are still characters I like. That's what I have to keep putting in Lois Lane days. But honestly, if I have to pick one, I'm gonna have to go with. Screw it. Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. I can't believe I didn't mention that. Jeez. Jessica Cruz. Because what they did with her is they added in a character, but what they did is they made her not another like clone of Hal Jordan. Because for the longest time, Kyle Rayner was basically a younger Hal Jordan in terms of like how he acted. But what they did immediately is they said, okay, so let's give her a dynamic with the ring where she's constantly afraid and doubting herself, but she's using a ring that's run off willpower. And she has these moments where like her willpower surges and she is a beast. So I'm like, hell yes. Amazing character. And Lord knows, one of my most popular videos on the channel is talking about how much I love Jessica Cruz. And Nick goes, Jared loves his waifus. And I'm like, thank you. Love that.
Just watch.
And I think that's a good place to leave.
I'm gonna get
I
you
think
like
that's
a
a good place
Jessica
to-
Cruz body pillow.
Jessica Cruz action figure is better. Yeah, it's sitting at 100 views. So on that note, I think that's a good place to leave it. And so the overall like take from this episode is that there's so many fantastic female characters in comics. Really great. They just have to be like written well, i.e. Captain Marvel / Ms. Marvel. But and again, by the way, drop in the comments your favorite female characters. Tevia, I know you're going to say Lois Lane for the pure reason that she gave birth to Jonathan Kent. I get it. I have to put that dig in. But
so I guess you could say Tevia's favorite part of Lois Lane is a womb.
Kind of, because that's the reason why. When you look at his reason, it's purely because she gave birth to John Kent, and I like that, and that's why I send my Lois Lane video. You don't need Lois Lane for that because they have had stories where Wonder Woman gave birth to John Kent. Now, granted, I'm not saying make Wonder Woman like she was in Dark Knight Returns because that was a very like aggressive version of Wonder Woman. What I'm just saying is that you don't need Lois Lane to have that. But anyway.
No.
I don't want to get into that debate, but drop in the comments your favorite female characters, any ones you think we missed, and suggestions for next list. We may do best like Superman characters, best Green Lantern characters, and such. Just drop in the comments, and we'll be sure to track that. Nick, so where can we find you, and what's going on your channel?
So you can find me at Project Access 1 on Twitter, and then search Phoenix Press on YouTube. As for the YouTube happenings, me and Jared will be continuing our Avatar series, and you want to announce the next big thing? Want to just do it right now?
Sure. On Nick's channel, we are going to be doing a gaming podcast, which is just pure. It's not just comic book gaming. It's just gaming in general, where we talk about our favorite games, the happenings in the gaming industry and such. So it's gonna be super fun because Nick and I talk about this for like ever, and we have great conversations about it. So I just figured, screw it. Let's just put a microphone in front of it because it'd be great content, particularly for Nick's channel since he has a gaming emphasis.
So, and the name of it's going to be like a video podcast, basically the same format we have now. It's to be called the Super Split Screen Brothers.
Yes, thank you. I love that. That was such a fantastic name, dude.
Yeah, I love like the moment we were kind of brainstorming it. Like we were like, oh, Split Screen Brothers, you know, and then it just kind of hit me like the Super Split Screen Brothers. He just rolls off the tongue. Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that actually works because it's very gaming inspired. So that works. So be on the lookout for that from Nick's channel. When we do episode 1, I'll share it on my community tabs and social media, and Nick will do the same. And then I'll be sure to share that once every week. And yeah, once again, we're doing our Avatar show, which I'm very much enjoying. Again, I can't believe I haven't been watching the show in a while. And remember, so tomorrow we have movie night, and our first movie night of the year, and we're talking about Justice League War, the first movie in the DC AMU. So be on the lookout for that, and see you guys for Comics League Dark. Stay heroic, everyone, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.